Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am doing night shift tonight and I just came off of a day off, so I'm like trying to adjust my schedule, but it is 2:30 right now and I thought I would try to be productive before I go in for my night shift. I am on my trauma rotation. I uploaded a video about kind of like a week in my life on my trauma rotation, but check that out if you want to know more. But in today's video, I'm going to do a video about the cost of both applying to medical school and then attending medical school, which is a video that I think is really important. You know, everyone knows that medical school is pretty expensive to attend, but just the act of applying to medical school is also extremely expensive, and I thought I would share some information on that. So if you guys like this video or any of my other videos, please don't forget to subscribe, and let's jump right in. So first, let's start with the price of even before you start applying, taking the MCAT. So to take the MCAT, you more than likely will want to do an MCAT class. This is a class that encompasses multiple weeks. You can do it either in person or online, and it just kind of helps you prepare to take the MCAT. I did this, almost everyone I know who took the MCAT did this. It's kind of like very important to take it. These prices of these classes vary pretty significantly throughout the different programs, but they are all very expensive. So the three kind of biggest ones that I found were $2,300, $1,800, and then $3,100. No matter what, they're extremely expensive. Then there's the price of actually taking the MCAT, which is like the testing fee, which is $320. That's all even before you send in an application. Then to send in an application, you have to send in an AAMC application. This is kind of a standardized application for all medical schools. This application is $170 for the first school, so that's kind of like your standard application, and then it's $41 for each additional school on top of that. The average number of medical schools people apply to is about 16, so that's $785 just for the application fee. Then some schools will invite you to do a secondary application. Some schools send a secondary application to everyone who applies, and some schools send them to, they have like a selection process. So say you get a secondary application from 3/4 of the schools you apply to. That's 12 schools, $100 per secondary application, so that's another $1,200. Then there's some minor fees like sending your transcript in, which is $50, you know, chump change compared to all of this other stuff. After you send in your application, you get invited to interview, which is, I think, pretty standard across the board. Almost all medical schools have an interview process. A lot of times you have to travel for these interviews, be put up in a hotel, you know, food expenses, everything like that. It's super expensive. So let's say you interview at 1/4 of the schools you apply to. So for us, that would be 4. I would say it's probably about $500 average for an interview, and that includes hotels, plane tickets, food, you know, whatever, travel, whatever. So that's about another $2,000. So that's just the application, like, altogether. So this totals a grand total of $6,655 just to apply to medical school. And some people don't get in the first time they apply, so they have to do this, if they choose to, you know, a couple times, once or twice or even 3 times. They have to go through this process. So that's a lot of money. There are some scholarship programs for this. You know, I don't know all of them. I know there's an AAMC fee assistance program. You know, we can definitely look into that if that's something you're interested in, but it's just, I think, mind-boggling to think about how much it costs to even apply to medical school and how hindering that can be for some people who maybe can't afford that, but who would be amazing doctors. So now let's talk about the cost of attending medical school. And obviously this varies hugely between the school, if you're in-state, out-of-state, all of that. But in my research, I found the average cost of in-state tuition is $39,150 per year, which is $156,600 over 4 years. That includes tuition, fees, and health insurance, so that does not include cost of living. For out-of-state or like private schools, it's about $63,546 per year, or $254,184 for 4 years. That is a huge difference between in-state and out-of-state. That's about $24,000 difference per year, which is like insane. And again, that includes tuition fees and health insurance, not cost of living. Now, for cost of living, you know, I kind of budgeted for myself in medical school about $2,000 per month, which for some people may sound really high and for some people may sound really low. It's just what worked for me with rent. I had a car payment that I had to pay, and just like other, you know, groceries, and I didn't even do that much stuff. And my rent was also not hugely expensive. I mean, it was expensive probably for Baltimore, but like compared to someone who lives in New York City or something, it was cheap. So that's about $24,000 per year, which is $96,000 over the course of 4 years. So obviously that is a huge amount of money. You take out loans, right? Like almost everyone takes out loans. I took out loans. Almost every one of my friends took out loans. It's just kind of what you do in medical school. This is just what worked for me. I took out loans for my tuition, and my parents helped me out with my cost of living. So I went to an in-state university, so mine was cheaper. I have principal loans, $129,611.86. That's my principal loans. Obviously, I have interest on that. My interest rate varies from, like, depending on the year that I took it out, 5.31% to 6.08%. And so far, I have accrued $6,682.85 in interest. I have not started paying off my medical school loans because of COVID. They are deferring school payments with 0% interest, and so I have other things I'm paying for right now. Mortgage, my car payment I'm still paying off. So I have not started paying my medical school loans, but it's okay because they're being deferred right now, but I will start paying them very soon. The average medical student does graduate with about $200,000 in loans, which is a huge amount. And then also, if you take into account undergrad loans, you know, I know people who have upwards of $500,000 in loans, which is crazy to think about to get an education. That is a whole nother conversation that I don't want to get into, but let's talk about loan repayment really quickly. So there are a couple options for loan repayment. There's a standard rate, which is just you divide it per month over 10 years. Almost no one in medical school does that because you cannot afford that when you start residency. You just do not have enough money to pay for that and your cost of living with your meager resident salary. There's an extended repayment, which is just that standard repayment spread over a longer time, so it's a fixed amount of money every year. And then there are income-based repayment or pay-as-you-earn options, which almost everyone I know is doing, which is basically you pay based on a certain percent of your disposable income. This is what I am doing. This is what almost all of my friends do. And my loan repayment averages out to about $90 per month when I start paying them, which is definitely affordable. I'm going to try to pay a little bit over that to bring down my principal so I don't get so much interest charges. And then, you know, there are certain programs where if you work in a public institution for 10 years, there's loan forgiveness. That includes residency. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do this. I am spending 5 years of residency in a public institution anyway, so I just have 5 more years, but you know, I'm not sure if I'm going to go into private practice or what I'm doing right now. But that's on the table, and I think to do that you have to do one of the pay-as-you-earn or income-based repayment options, and you have to fill out a form your first year so that you start to be eligible for that your first year of residency. So yeah, that was kind of a brief overview of the cost of medical school and the cost of applying to medical school. I don't mean to sticker shock you, I just want to be realistic about how expensive it is and how it can sometimes limit people who want to go to medical school, which I think is really unfortunate. And you know, I think as things are changing in the United States, maybe this will be one of the things that changes. The cost of education in general is going up so much, college, medical school, graduate school, everything, and it's just not sustainable anymore. So we'll see what happens. As of now, it is what it is, and it's definitely something to take into account when applying and when thinking about attending medical school. My camera died, so I'm recording my outro on my phone, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please do not forget to subscribe. That would mean a lot to me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.